Hello, we are going to review solving one-step inequalities today. Remember, there are just two things that you need to do to solve inequalities. Step one, make sure you follow along and write this down. Step one is that you need to solve using inverse operations. Solve using inverse operations. And that word inverse was new to us with our last unit with solving equations. What do inverse operations, what does that mean again? That means the opposite operation. The opposite operation. So for inequalities in sixth grade, the only thing we're doing with inequalities in sixth grade is adding and subtracting. Those are inverses of each other. They're opposites of each other. So when we're going through solving, if I see addition in the problem or a positive number, the opposite would be I need to subtract or do the negative of that number. If I see subtraction in a problem, I need to do addition or the positive of that because it's the opposite, the inverse. The second step then is to graph the inequality. And the biggest thing here is remembering, do we have an open circle or a closed circle when we're graphing our inequality, when we're showing our answer? If we have the symbols greater than and less than, is that an open or closed circle? That's going to be an open circle. It kind of looks like one of those emojis where you're like yelling. Then if I have greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, if I have those lines underneath, I need to close my circle. If we have those equality lines underneath, we need to close our circle, showing that it could be that number exactly. It could be that number exactly. I tell my classes, if I'm extra with the line, I got to be extra with my circle and I got to fill it in. So now we're going to go into actually solving and graphing these equations. We're going to do these examples together, and then you'll be able to try some on your own. So number one, we have negative 12 is greater than x minus 7. Let me draw my train tracks to help me remember. I need to do the same math on both sides because right now this side is greater than this side. I have to do the same thing on both sides to keep it that way. If I do something to one side and not the other, I could make it out of balance, and I don't want to do that. I'm always trying to isolate my variable. I'm always trying to get my letter, my variable, all by itself. So I always need to get rid of the number that's with it. In this problem, the minus 7 is with it. So I need to do the inverse, the opposite of minus 7. What is the opposite of minus 7? Plus 7. So I need to add 7 to both sides. Oh, that's not clear. There we go. I need to add 7 to both sides. So you do get your calculator on this, so feel free to use it. If I have negative 12 and I add 7, I get negative 5. So on this side, I have negative 5. My negative 7 and my plus 7 are opposites, so they make a zero pair. They cancel each other out, and I bring down my x. A mistake that I've seen students make in the past is they want to write an equal sign here. X does not equal 5. X needs to be less than 5. Negative 5 is greater than x. They're not equal. Do not put an equal sign. Those are different symbols. They mean completely different things. You'll get this wrong if you put an equal sign. So now I need to find negative 5 on my number line. I know 5 is between 6 and 4, so negative 5 would be between negative 6 and negative 4. So this is where my negative 5 would be. And now I want to think, is this going to be an open circle or a closed circle? Remember, it depends on the sign. Is this going to be open or closed? It's going to be an open circle. We have greater than. So I'm going to put an open circle on 5. And then for x, am I looking for numbers that are bigger than -5 or smaller than -5? Something that helps me is to think about the number 0. 0 would be over here. This would be -1. That would be 0. If I plug in 0 in my inequality, I can see if that would work. Is -5 greater than 0? No, -5 is not greater than 0, it's less than 0. So 0 should not be on the side I shade, which means I need to shade to the left. I'm looking for numbers that are smaller than 5. And that makes sense. The point's at x, the point goes to the smaller side. So I want numbers that are smaller than -5. Let's try number 2. -1 plus r is greater than or equal to 4. This one's tricking up some students, I know. This is a plus sign, but the plus is for the number behind it. The plus is for my r, not the plus for the -1. So how do I get rid of a -1? +1, +1. So I'm going to add 1 to both sides. Adding 1 will undo the -1 that's already in the problem. So I'm going to cross those out, bring down my r. 4 plus 1 is 5. And then I got to keep my inequality sign. So I get r is greater than or equal to 5. So now here's 5 on my graph. I've got to think, is this going to be an open circle or a closed circle for this symbol? It's going to be a closed circle. It's greater than or equal to. I've got the line underneath. I got to be extra with my circle. So I need to have a closed circle on 5. And now think to yourself, is r supposed to be a number bigger than 5 or smaller than 5? If r is greater than or equal to 5, that means I want numbers that are bigger than 5. Numbers that are bigger are on the right side. And I can check my work. I can choose, for example, the number 8 and plug it in for my r. Is 8 greater than or equal to 5? Yeah, 8's greater than or equal to 5, so that's the direction I should go. If I had tried the number 0, is 0 greater than or equal to 5? No, 0 is less than 5. So that's how I know that 0, I should not go that direction. I should not go that direction. Teacher, please pause the video and let students try to solve number 3 on their own. Pause the video. Have students try number 3 on their own. All right. The opposite of a -6 is a +6. I want to add 6 to both sides. A negative and a +6 cancel. So I get n is less than or equal to -8. Because of this symbol, I need to have a closed circle on that -8. N is less than -8. I'm looking for numbers smaller than 8. Smaller numbers are on the left side. Smaller numbers are on the left side. Go ahead, pause the video if there's any work that anybody needs to catch up on. Otherwise, if you're ready like me, let's go on to the other side. Our first problem up top, we have 15 plus x is less than or equal to 0. I need to get rid of whatever's with my variable. Whatever the number is with the letter, that's what needs to go. I need to get rid of that +15. How do I get rid of a +15? I need to subtract 15 on both sides. Subtract 15 on both sides. Those 15s are opposite, so they cancel each other out. I bring down my x. I bring down the same inequality, less than or equal to. And then what's 0 minus 15? Negative 15. So I get x is less than or equal to negative 15. Open or close circle on my negative 15. Close circle. Why? Because of the line. When we see the line underneath, that tells us we need to have a closed circle. Closed circle. And then do I want x to be numbers that are smaller than negative 15 or bigger than negative 15? Smaller. The point shows whatever side is smaller. I want my x, I want my numbers to be smaller than 15, negative 15. So I'm going to shade to the left. I can go ahead and check. 0 would be somewhere way over here, and 0 is not on the side that I wanted. So if I do 0 is less than or equal to negative 15, is 0 less than a negative number? No. That's why I like to use the number 0 to check when I can, because 0 is easy for me to compare things to. If it's a positive number, it's got to be greater than 0. If it's a negative number, it has to be less than 0, and we don't see less than 0 here. Take a second, finish writing that down for me. And then we'll try 2. I hope you have this written down. All right. Number 2. Am I getting rid of the 25 or the 13? I'm getting rid of the 13. I want to keep my variable on the same side. I want to isolate it. I want to get it by itself. So to get n by itself, I got to get rid of a plus 13. How do I get rid of a plus 13? Minus 13. 5 minus 3 is 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. So I get 12 is greater than or equal to n. Open or close circle on 12. Closed. It's got the line underneath. Line underneath means I got to be extra with my circle. I got to color it in. And then for n, do I want n to be numbers that are smaller than 12 or bigger than 12? Smaller. Smaller than 12. 12 is greater than n, so n needs to be anything smaller than that. So again, imagine 0 is way over there. Is 12 greater than or equal to 0? It sure is. So this 0 needs to be on this direction of my arrow. All right, teachers, again, pause the video. Have students try number 3 all on their own. And then once you see everybody's got it done, play the video again so that students can see if they got it right or not. Good luck, guys. Do, 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 do. All right. Hopefully it's done. I need to get rid of my 3. It's on the same side as my variable. Always want to get my variable by itself, so I need to get rid of that positive 3. How do we get rid of a positive 3? Subtract 3, or negative 3 on both sides. Those 3's are opposite. They cancel each other out. Bring down your v is less than or equal to negative 9 minus 3 is going to give me a negative 12. Open or close circle on that negative 12. Closed circle. Why is it closed? It's got the line underneath. Most of those had the line underneath, so most of those are closed. And then do I want numbers that are bigger than 12 or smaller than 12? smaller than 12. Smaller than 12. If I check with that number 0, I didn't shade the direction of 0, so 0 should not work if I plug it in for my v. Is 0 less than or equal to negative 12? No! Negatives are always going to be smaller than 0. Negative numbers are always smaller than 0, so 0 should not be the direction that I shade. I hope this video was helpful for you. If you're in Miss Simpson's class, you're going to now go do corrections on your test from last class. Everybody else, if you want to practice the problems on the back side, you can. Miss Simpson's class, if you want to do these practice problems on the back after your test for more practice, you are more than welcome to. Good luck, guys.